Hi there and welcome to the History Teacher. This revision video covers Weimar and Nazi Germany from the GCSE Edexcel 9-1 course. Hopefully you'll also find it useful if you're studying any of the other exam boards or if, like me, you just love history. You can now become a member to support me to continue making this content from just £1 a month. Plus you'll get exclusive access to worksheets, revision materials, and you'll get to vote on forthcoming episodes. The link is in the description. Hi there guys, we are on to topic 4 now and turning to what life was like for those living in Nazi Germany. This time we're going to be taking a look at what the Nazis' policies were towards women and how effective they were. For the Nazis, women were vital in the traditional role of mother and housewife. They believed that a woman's main role was to have children to grow the Aryan race. Hitler believed this job was as important as the work of men. The changes for women can be split into 3 broad categories: marriage and children, work, and women's appearance. The Nazis did not force their ideal appearance on women, but used a mixture of propaganda and menace to convince women to look a certain way. Posters showed women wearing modest clothing with long skirts, no makeup, and their hair tied up in either plaits or a bun. Many women did conform to this, and those who did not came under suspicion of being anti-Nazi. You will remember that the birth rate had fallen sharply in the 1920s, leading to some to blame the new rights and freedoms women had gained. By 1933, the birth rate in Germany had fallen to 1 million. The Nazis were worried about this because they were concerned that there would not be enough soldiers and workers for Germany. So once they were in power, they brought in laws and incentive schemes to encourage marriage and childbirth. In 1934, Hitler appointed Gertrude Scholz-Klink the Reich women's leader. Her remit was to make all women focus on the goals of the Nazis. All existing women's clubs and organisations were forced to become part of the German Women's Enterprise, which is in German the Deutsches Frauenwerk. All other women's organisations were banned. By 1939, the DFW had 6 million members. The DFW organised courses on domestic activities such as childcare, cooking and needlework. The focus of this was to encourage women to be better homemakers and to focus on the task of child-rearing. In 1933, the Nazis introduced the law for the encouragement of marriage. Loans of up to 1,000 marks were available to newly married couples as long as the wife stopped working. As an incentive to have children, 25% of the loan was written off for every child born to the couple. So, if they were to have 4 children, the loan would be written off completely. In addition to this, a change in the divorce laws highlighted the importance of children. From 1938, a man could divorce his wife if she would not or could not have children, or if she were to have an abortion. In addition to the laws, the Nazis introduced the Mother's Cross in 1938. This rewarded women with a bronze medal for giving birth to 4 children, a silver cross for 6 children, and a gold medal for giving birth to 8 children. Bearers of the Mother's Cross were treated to ceremonies and were saluted by members of the Hitler Youth in the street. There were also expectations that should a woman have 10 or more children, Hitler himself should be invited to be the godfather of the 10th child. And if the 10th child were a boy, it should be named Adolf. The financial support available to mothers was not to be sniffed at. From 1936, a woman could get 10 marks a month from the government for their 3rd and 4th child, and 20 marks a month for each subsequent child. This meant that some women could earn more from having children than their husbands did in work. As well as the traditional family model, the Nazis wanted to encourage the birth of genetically pure children. To this end, the policy of Lebensborn was started in 1935 by Himmler. At first, it provided nurseries and financial support for the children of SS men, but after 1936 it began a deliberate policy of breeding single women with SS soldiers. Some of the 8,000 children born in the German Lebensborn homes were raised by their single mothers, while others were adopted to childless couples deemed to be suitable. Since the Nazis were so keen for women to stay at home and look after their husbands and children, they took steps to encourage and prevent them from working. One way they encouraged women to leave their jobs was through propaganda. The propaganda encouraged women to focus on the 3 Ks: Kinder, Küche, Kirche, children, kitchen and church. Posters, radio and cinema portrayed women as loving homemakers who had given up work to care for their families. As well as persuasion, they brought in laws which reduced the number of women in work. In 1933, women were banned from holding professional jobs such as teachers and doctors. This meant that by 1935, 360,000 women had left their jobs. Then, in 1936, women were banned from working as lawyers or judges and even from sitting on a jury. Women were quietly forced out of the workplace. The education of girls also focused on their future as homemakers rather than workers. The syllabus for girls was focused on making them strong and healthy for childbearing, encouraging the idea of becoming good wives and mothers, and teaching them domestic skills. From 1937, girls' grammar schools, which had prepared young women for university, were banned, and this was effective because by 1939 the number of girls attending university had fallen from 17,000 to 6,000. Ultimately, the Nazis were partially successful in their aims for women. Fewer women attended university, the birth rate increased from 1.77 births per woman in 1935 to 2.24 in 1940, and male unemployment fell as jobs vacated by women became available. However, some women disliked the Nazis' policies as they believed they were demeaning and damaging to women, while others hated the DFW leader. There were also practicalities which stood in the way of the Nazis' ideal. By the end of the 1930s, there were actually 3 million more women in work than in 1933. This was because German industry was expanding rapidly at the same time as the army was recruiting millions of German men. This left only women available to fill the jobs. Okay, that is everything you need to know about the Nazis' policies towards women. Don't forget to check out my website for worksheets and revision guidance, and I will see you next time.